Chosen one, why can't you sleep anymore? Why does 3 a.m. feel like an appointment you didn't schedule but can't miss? Why have the last 72 hours felt like you're holding your breath underwater, waiting for something you can't name but absolutely recognize? Stop. Right there. Because what I'm about to tell you will shatter every comfortable lie you've been telling yourself about December 2nd. This isn't just another day on your calendar. This isn't another motivational message to make you feel better for 15 minutes. December 2nd is the day heaven rips the veil off your life and finally shows you, what's been hidden in plain sight. You've felt it, haven't you? That strange heaviness in your chest. That restlessness that coffee can't fix and sleep won't cure. That quiet warning in your spirit that keeps whispering, something is coming. Something is shifting. Something is about to be exposed. Listen to me carefully, beloved. December 2nd carries 2 mysteries that will define the next chapter of your existence. First, something is coming toward you that you've been spiritually blind to. Second, something is being removed from you that's been stealing your destiny for years. And you won't see either one until the appointed hour strikes. Isaiah knew this feeling when he wrote, "Before they call, I will answer. While they are still speaking, I will hear." God doesn't wait for December 2nd to move. He's been moving. You're just about to see it. Daniel understood this when heaven opened scrolls that had been sealed for generations. Go your way, Daniel, because the words are rolled up and sealed until the time of the end. Your time of the end of confusion, the end of waiting, the end of wondering if God forgot your address. That time is December 2nd. But here's what's going to wreck you. This isn't about what you'll gain. It's about what you'll finally see. The spiritual sunrise after your longest midnight. Before we go one word deeper, before I reveal what heaven showed me at 2:47 a.m. last Tuesday, I need you to do something. Type "I'm ready" in the comments right now. Not for me, not for this channel, but as a sacred declaration to the throne room of God that you are prepared for what's about to unfold. That simple act is your spiritual yes to what's already in motion. And I want to pause here with a grateful heart. Thank you to every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving, you're sowing seeds into ground that's about to explode with harvest. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message is already gripping your soul, go ahead and let heaven know you're listening. Because chosen one, December 2nd isn't coming to destroy you. It's coming to expose you to yourself. And once you see what God sees, nothing will ever be the same. Are you ready for the revelation? Why does it hurt more at 70 than it did at 17? Why does loss cut deeper when you've already survived so much? Why do you sit in that chair by the window, watching the world rush by, feeling like God put you on a shelf and forgot which shelf it was? I know you, beloved. I know the weight you carry that no one else can see. You've lived long enough to bury dreams that once made your heart race. You've stood at gravesides, so many gravesides, watching pieces of your soul get lowered into the ground. Your spouse, your friends, your parents, sometimes even your children. You've folded up seasons of your life like old photographs, tucked them away, and told yourself, that chapter's closed now. But here's what breaks my heart. You think God was absent during all of that. You think heaven looked away when you needed him most. You think those tears you cried at 3 a.m. when the house was so quiet you could hear your own heartbeat somehow evaporated into nothing. They didn't. Psalm 56:8 says it plainly, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book, every single tear, beloved. Not some, not the pretty ones you cried in church, all of them. The ugly ones, the angry ones, the ones you cried in the shower so your grandchildren wouldn't hear. The ones you cried in your car in the parking lot of the funeral home. Heaven caught every single one. But you've been living like those tears meant nothing. Like your pain was pointless. Like your suffering was just random bad luck in a cold, indifferent universe. That's the lie that's been stealing your peace for decades. Listen to me carefully. What if I told you that every disappointment, every closed door, every prayer that seemed to bounce off the ceiling, what if all of it was being recorded? What if God wasn't ignoring you? What if He was documenting you, building a case file in the courts of heaven that says, this one endured, this one stayed faithful, this one kept believing even when belief hurt? You think you're too old for God to use now. You think your best years are in the rearview mirror. You think December 2nd is just another day to mark off the calendar before you die. But what if December 2nd is the day God finally shows you why? Why your marriage had to end the way it did? Why your children broke your heart? Why the money ran out when you needed it most? Why your body started failing just when you thought you'd earned some peace? Why you felt invisible, forgotten, irrelevant for so long? The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That's Psalm 34:18, close, not distant, not absent, not forgetful, close. Closer than your next breath, closer than the pain in your chest. But here's what you haven't understood yet. God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't allow suffering for no reason. Your life has been like a puzzle, beloved. 1,000 pieces scattered across decades. Some pieces were beautiful weddings, births, victories. Some pieces were dark funerals, failures, betrayals. And you've been sitting there staring at this incomplete picture, wondering if it will ever make sense. December 2nd is the day the centerpiece appears. That missing piece that suddenly makes every other piece click into place. That moment when you step back and see the full picture and you gasp because it's not what you expected. It's better. It's purposeful. It's proof that nothing, absolutely nothing, was wasted. You want to know what heaven's been doing while you've been suffering. Heaven's been preparing you. Not punishing you. Preparing you. Moses was 80 years old, tending sheep in the middle of nowhere, thinking his life was over. Then God showed up in a burning bush and said, "Now we begin." Sarah was 90, her womb dead, her hope buried. Then God gave her Isaac and made her the mother of nations. Job lost everything, his children, his wealth, his health, and sat in ashes scraping his sores with broken pottery. Then God restored him double. Your story isn't over, dear one. It's been loading. Every year you thought was wasted was actually working. Every tear was currency. Every moment you wanted to quit but didn't was building something in the spiritual realm that December 2nd is about to unveil. But I need you to understand the urgency of this moment. You don't have unlimited time left. You know that, you feel it in your bones. Every morning you wake up is a gift, and every night you go to sleep wondering if you'll see another sunrise. So when heaven marks a date, December 2nd, and says, "This is when I reveal what I've been building," you need to pay attention. Because this isn't about someday. This isn't about eventually. This is about now. This is about you, at your age, with your history, being positioned for something that will make every scar worth it. You were not abandoned, chosen one. You were being prepared, and December 2nd, that's your graduation day. But here's what you need to know before we go any deeper. What's coming isn't just for you. What God's about to reveal will ripple through your family, your community, your legacy. The question burning in heaven's throne room right now is simple. When the revelation comes, will you be ready to receive it? Or will you let a lifetime of disappointment convince you it's too good to be true? You know what the enemy's been whispering to you, don't you? He's been standing at your bedside every morning for the past decade, and he's got one lie that he keeps replaying like a broken record. You're too late. Your moment passed. Your best years are gone. And you believed him. You looked at your 73 years and thought the story was ending. You looked at your 82 birthdays and assumed God had moved on to younger vessels. You looked at your wrinkled hands and convinced yourself that anointing has an expiration date stamped on it like milk in a grocery store. But let me tell you something that's going to shatter that deception right now. God doesn't just save his finest wine for last. He hides it. He protects it. He ages it until the exact moment when the world is desperate enough to taste what only time and pressure can produce. You're not behind schedule, beloved. You're right on God's clock. And his clock doesn't tick the way yours does. Think about Sarah. 90 years old when she held Isaac in her arms. 90. The world said her womb was dead. Medical science said it was impossible. Logic said she'd missed her window by about 40 years. But God said, now. Right now is when I birth the promise. Genesis 21:2 tells us, Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised him. At the very time, not late. At the exact appointed moment when heaven's calendar and earth's desperation collided. Think about Moses. 80 years old when he stood before that burning bush. 80. He'd spent 40 years thinking he was somebody in Pharaoh's palace, and 40 years thinking he was nobody in the wilderness. But God was thinking something entirely different. God was thinking, now he's ready. Now he's been humbled enough, tested enough, refined enough to handle what I'm about to put in his hands. You see, the delay wasn't denial. The delay was development. Every closed door you faced wasn't God saying no to you, it was God saying not yet. Every opportunity that slipped through your fingers wasn't heaven forgetting about you. It was heaven protecting you from blessing you weren't mature enough to steward. Every year you've spent feeling invisible wasn't punishment, it was preparation for visibility you can't even imagine yet. But here's where it gets urgent. Here's where December 2nd becomes more than just another day you cross off your calendar. On December 2nd, a truth about your identity is going to rise to the surface like oil on water. Something that's been submerged, something that's been hidden, something that's been waiting for the exact right moment is about to break through. And when it does, you're going to look back at every delay and whisper, oh, now I understand. Now I see why I had to wait. A curtain is about to be pulled back, and what stands behind that curtain will change the way you see everything, your past, your present, and the future you thought had already been written. But I need you to understand something that most people miss about divine timing. The enemy didn't just try to convince you that you were late. He tried to block you. He positioned obstacles, people, circumstances, and even your own thoughts as barriers between you and your destiny. He's been playing defense because he knows what's coming on December 2nd. Something or someone that has been blocking you is about to be exposed. The thing you couldn't see, the force you couldn't name, the invisible wall you kept hitting, it's about to be revealed. And when you finally see what's been in your way, you'll also see why it had to be removed at this exact moment. Ecclesiastes 3:1 declares, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Your season of delay just got an expiration date, and that date is December 2nd. But here's what I need you to do right now. Write "I refuse to miss it" in the comments. Not as a wish, not as a hope, as a declaration of war against every lie that told you your time was over. As a stand of faith that says, hell tried to delay me, but heaven's about to deploy me. Because, chosen one, you are not stepping into your retirement years. You are stepping into the chapter you were born for. The chapter that required every single year of preparation, every tear of refinement, every moment of feeling forgotten, so that when you finally step into it, no one, not even you, will be able to deny that this is God and God alone. Caleb was 85 when he said, give me this mountain, not give me a rocking chair. Not give me a quiet corner to fade away in. Give me this mountain. Give me the giants. Give me the impossible. Because at 85, he finally understood something that 25-year-olds don't know. True strength isn't measured in muscle, it's measured in faith that's been tested by time. Your strength isn't in your body anymore. Your strength is in your unshakable trust that God has never once failed you, and He's not about to start now. So when December 2nd comes, when that curtain opens, when that truth surfaces, when that blockage is exposed, you're going to stand there and finally understand why the wait was worth it. But the revelation that's coming isn't just about your past being explained. It's about your future being activated. And what gets activated on December 2nd will determine everything that happens in the days, months, and years that follow. The question burning in heaven right now is simple. Will you be ready when the curtain opens? You know what's been eating at you for the last 20 years, chosen one? It's not just loneliness. It's not just getting older. It's that knowing feeling in your gut that something or someone has been working against you in the shadows. And you've been right all along. Listen to me carefully. There have been people in your life, forces you couldn't name, energies you couldn't explain, actively standing between you and the destiny God wrote for you before you drew your first breath. Not just bad luck, not just unfortunate timing. Strategic, calculated opposition designed to keep you small, quiet, and convinced that your best years died with your youth. You felt it when your own children stopped calling, when they made you feel like a burden instead of a blessing, when holidays became obligations instead of celebrations. Something shifted in their eyes, didn't it? Like they couldn't see you anymore, the real you, the one who sacrificed everything to give them the life they now take for granted. You felt it when that so-called friend from church, the one you trusted with your deepest struggles, suddenly turned cold. When your vulnerability became their gossip. When your pain became their entertainment at the Wednesday night Bible study. Proverbs 16:28 warns us, a perverse person stirs up conflict and a gossip separates close friends. But you didn't want to believe it. You wanted to think the best of people. That cost you, didn't it? You felt it in your own mind, beloved. Those voices that whisper you're too old, too tired, too irrelevant to matter anymore. Those thoughts that tell you to just accept your place, stop dreaming. Stop believing God still has plans for someone with grey hair and wrinkled hands. But those weren't your thoughts. Ephesians 6:12 makes it crystal clear. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age. You've been in a war you couldn't see, fighting enemies you couldn't name, bleeding from wounds that left no visible scars. But here's what's about to shock you to your core. December 2nd is the day the fog lifts. The day the veil gets ripped away. The day you finally see with perfect clarity who's been for you and who's been against you all along. And some of you are going to cry when the truth hits the light. Not tears of sadness, tears of relief. Because things are finally going to make sense. That daughter-in-law who always had an excuse why you couldn't see the grandkids. You're about to understand why. That nephew who borrowed money and disappeared. The pattern will reveal itself. That pastor who made you feel invisible in your own church home. December 2nd exposes it all. Jesus said in Luke 8:17, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." That's not just a nice verse to cross-stitch on a pillow. That's a prophetic promise. And it's coming due on December 2nd. You've spent years wondering if you were crazy, if you were being too sensitive, if you were imagining the coldness, the distance, the subtle ways you were being erased from your own family story. But your spirit knew what your mind couldn't prove. Your discernment was picking up frequencies your eyes couldn't see. The opposition wasn't just external, dear one. It was positioned in your inner circle. Judas doesn't always come from the outside. Sometimes he sits at your dinner table. Sometimes she calls you mom. Sometimes they wear the same last name you've carried for 70 years. And the cruelest part, Society told you to be quiet about it, to be grateful, to not rock the boat, to accept being overlooked, unheard, dismissed as the natural order of aging in America. They stuck you in the corner at family gatherings and called it respect. They made decisions about your life without asking you and called it care. They treated you like a child and called it love. But God sees differently. Leviticus 19:32 commands, "Stand up in the presence of the aged, show respect for the elderly and revere your God." When your family stopped standing, when society stopped respecting, when the world stopped revering the wisdom you carry, that wasn't evolution. That was opposition to divine order. December 2nd doesn't just reveal who worked against you. It reveals why they had to. Because somewhere deep in their spirits, they recognized something in you that threatened their comfortable mediocrity. Your faithfulness made their compromise visible. Your endurance exposed their quitting. Your continued belief in God's goodness highlighted their bitterness. You were a walking reminder of what they could have been if they hadn't given up. But here's the revelation that's going to set you free. The fog that's been sitting over your life for years, maybe decades, that thick, suffocating confusion that made you question your own perception. December 2nd is the wind that clears it all away. What once confused you will suddenly become clear. The puzzle pieces you've been trying to force together for years will snap into place in a single moment of divine clarity. You'll see the pattern. You'll understand the strategy. You'll recognize the opposition. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. But knowledge isn't the end goal, chosen one. Clarity is just the beginning. Because once the veil lifts, once the truth hits the light, once you understand what's been working against you, then comes the question that will determine everything about your next chapter. Now that you know who the enemy is, what are you going to do about it? Listen to me, chosen one. While you've been sitting there feeling like God pressed pause on your life, He's been doing something you couldn't see. He's been rearranging the pieces, moving the mountains, repositioning the players. And on December 2nd, you're going to look up and realize that what you thought was delay was actually divine setup. You know what breaks my heart? It's watching someone in their 70s, their 80s, convince themselves that their best chapters are behind them, that their destiny expired with their youth, that God somehow forgot about them when they turned 65 and started collecting Social Security. But let me tell you something that's going to shatter that lie right now. Your age doesn't disqualify you. Your age positions you. Moses was 80 years old when God called him to deliver an entire nation. 80. When the world would have put him in a nursing home, God put a staff in his hand and said, "Now we begin." Abraham was 75 when God promised him nations. Sarah was 90 when she birthed the impossible. And you, sitting there thinking your time has passed, you're about to discover that God saves the finest wine for last. But here's what's happening right now that you can't see with natural eyes. God is working like a master sculptor, and you've been His masterpiece in progress. Every closed door wasn't rejection. Every disappointment wasn't abandonment. Every year you spent in the wilderness wasn't wasted time. It was preparation. It was positioning. It was God carving away everything that wasn't meant for your final act. Think about it. A sculptor doesn't create beauty by adding. He creates beauty by removing. Every chip of marble that falls away reveals more of what was always meant to be. And beloved, God has been chipping away at your life, removing the wrong relationships, removing the dead-end jobs, removing the people who couldn't see your value. And what's about to be revealed on December 2nd will leave you breathless. Your destiny is not a straight line, it's a divine river. And for years it felt like that river was dammed up, blocked, going nowhere. But here's what happens with rivers. When they're blocked long enough, when the pressure builds high enough, when the appointed time arrives, they don't just flow, they flood, they rush. They overflow their banks and water everything in their path. That's what's coming for you. Not a trickle, a flood. And I need you to understand something that's going to shake you. The truth that appears on December 2nd will launch you into a season that others said was impossible for someone your age. They whispered behind your back, didn't they? Too old to start over. Too late to dream. Too tired to matter. But God is about to use you to prove that His power doesn't diminish with wrinkles. His calling doesn't expire with retirement. His anointing doesn't fade with grey hair. In fact, Psalm 92:14 declares, "They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green, fresh and green." Not dried up, not forgotten, not put out to pasture. Fresh, fruitful, bearing fruit when the world expected you to wither. But here's where it gets supernatural. Right now, this very moment, God is orchestrating what I call sudden blessings. Unexpected phone calls from people you haven't heard from in 20 years. Opportunities reopening that you thought were dead and buried. Doors you stopped knocking on because your knuckles were bloody. Those doors are about to swing open on their own. The prophet Isaiah saw this when he wrote, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." A way in the wilderness. Streams in the wasteland. When you look at your life and see desert, God sees irrigation about to break through. And let me tell you what else is happening. Lost connections are returning. People who walked away are about to walk back. Relationships that ended in confusion are about to be restored with clarity. Because December 2nd isn't just about what's coming to you. It's about who's coming back to you. But I need to be honest with you about something that might sting. Some of you have been living beneath your spiritual inheritance. You've been accepting crumbs when God set a feast. You've been surviving when you were designed to thrive. You've been playing small because the world told you that 75-year-olds don't get second acts. But God doesn't consult the world about His plans for you. Right now, there's a door that's been locked for decades. Maybe it's the door to financial freedom. Maybe it's the door to restored family. Maybe it's the door to purpose you thought you'd never walk through. And on December 2nd, you're going to hear something. Not with your natural ears, but with your spirit. You're going to hear the sound of ancient hinges creaking open. You're going to feel the rush of wind from rooms you thought were sealed forever. Revelation 3:8 says, "See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." Not a door that might open. Not a door that could possibly open if you're lucky. An open door, present tense, already done. And no force in hell can close what God has opened for you. The current is flowing your way, beloved. The tide is turning. The season is shifting. And every person who counted you out, every voice that said you were finished, every circumstance that screamed, "Too late," they're all about to witness what happens when God decides it's time. But here's the question that will determine everything. When that door swings open on December 2nd, will you have the courage to walk through it? Or will you stand there paralyzed by the same fear that's kept you small for the last 20 years? Because what's coming next will require you to move like you've never moved before. You've been living your life like a man searching for his glasses while they're sitting on top of his head. December 2nd is the day you finally see what's been there all along. Listen to me, chosen one. This isn't about discovering something new. This is about uncovering something ancient. Something that's been buried under decades of doubt, disappointment, and the world's definitions of who you're supposed to be. December 2nd will expose your calling, not suggest it, not hint at it. Expose it. Like pulling back curtains in a room that's been dark for 70 years and letting sunlight flood every corner you'd forgotten existed. You see, some of you have spent your entire adult life wondering why you never quite fit. Why corporate America felt like a costume you were but never owned. Why retirement feels more like waiting than resting. Why every conversation about golf and grandkids leaves you feeling empty when you should feel fulfilled. That restlessness wasn't confusion, beloved. That was your spirit recognizing that you were made for something the world can't name and your resume can't contain. Jeremiah 1:5 cut straight to the bone. Before I formed you in the womb I knew you. Before you were born I set you apart. Set you apart. Not after you proved yourself. Not after you got your life together. Before your first breath, you were marked for an assignment that has nothing to do with your age and everything to do with your anointing. December 2nd exposes your spiritual inheritance. The mantle your grandmother prayed over you when you were 6 years old. The prophetic words spoken over your life that you dismissed as religious talk. The dreams you had at 15 that you buried under student loans and mortgages and the practical demands of survival. But here's what breaks my heart. You've been living on an allowance when you have access to the entire inheritance. You've been sipping water from a paper cup when there's a river with your name on it. You've been asking God for enough when He's been trying to give you abundance. Romans 8:17 declares you're not just a child, you're an heir. Now if we are children, then we are heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ, co-heirs. That means what belongs to Jesus belongs to you. His authority, His power, His access to the Father's throne room. And on December 2nd, something in your spirit is going to click. You're going to stop begging and start commanding. You're going to stop asking if you're worthy and start walking in the worthiness Christ already purchased for you. December 2nd exposes your true strength. Not the strength the world measured, how many hours you could work, how much weight you could lift, how many crises you could manage without breaking. No, beloved, your real strength has been forming in the secret place, in the midnight hours when you prayed through pain, in the hospital rooms when you chose faith over fear, in the financial valleys when you tithed what you couldn't afford to give. Isaiah 40:31 promised this, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. You thought that verse was poetry. December 2nd will prove its prophecy. Your knees might ache, but your spirit is about to sprint. Your body might be 75, but your anointing is timeless. What you thought was weakness was actually God perfecting His strength in your surrender. December 2nd exposes what was holding you back. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. Because what's been blocking you wasn't the devil, it was you. Your fear of being too old. Your belief that your best years are behind you. Your agreement with a culture that worships youth and discards wisdom. You've been believing lies that sound like facts. I'm too tired. It's too late. Nobody listens to old people anymore. But Proverbs 16:31 calls your grey hair a crown of splendor. Not a sign of decline, a symbol of glory. Every wrinkle on your face is a battle scar. Every age spot is a mark of survival. Every slower step is evidence that you've walked through fire and lived to tell about it. December 2nd is when you stop apologizing for your age and start weaponizing your wisdom. December 2nd exposes the next divine assignment on your life. Not retirement. Not fading into the background. Not quietly accepting that your season of impact is over. God is about to hand you an assignment so specific, so urgent, so precisely tailored to everything you've survived that you'll understand why you had to live this long to receive it. Moses was 80 when he split the Red Sea. Anna was 84 when she prophesied over baby Jesus. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." Your age isn't your limitation, it's your qualification. Some of you will wake up on December 2nd feeling different. Lighter, sharper, seen. Like someone turned on a light switch inside you that's been off for decades. You'll look in the mirror and see what heaven has always seen. Not an old person counting down days, but a chosen vessel counting up victories. Because here's the truth that's going to shatter everything you thought you knew about your life. You were never waiting on God. God was waiting on you, waiting for you to stop believing the lies, waiting for you to remember who you are, waiting for you to say yes to what He's been preparing for 70, 80, 90 years. And now, chosen one, now you are ready. But the question that will determine everything that happens after December 2nd is this: what will you do when the veil is lifted and you finally see what God has been seeing all along? Now listen to me carefully, chosen one, because what I'm about to give you isn't theory. This isn't Sunday school philosophy. These are the 5 prophetic preparation steps that will determine whether December 2nd exposes your destiny or exposes your unreadiness. You've been waiting for breakthrough, but have you been preparing for it? You've been praying for revelation, but have you been positioning yourself to receive it? Because here's the brutal truth that most believers refuse to face: God doesn't pour new wine into old wineskins. And if your spirit is still cluttered with yesterday's bitterness, tomorrow's blessing has nowhere to land. Step 1. Release old resentment today. I'm talking about that grudge you've been nursing for 15 years. That betrayal from 2008 that you replay every time you're alone. That family member who hurt you, that friend who abandoned you, that church that wounded you. You think you've moved on because you don't talk about it anymore. But your spirit knows the truth. You're still carrying it like a stone in your pocket, and it's weighing down the very destiny God is trying to release. Ephesians 4:26 doesn't negotiate. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. How many suns have set since your hurt? How many years have you let bitterness rent space in your heart that was reserved for glory? Here's what's going to shock you. That person who hurt you has moved on with their life. They're sleeping peacefully while you're up at 3 a.m. replaying the pain. And the enemy loves it because every ounce of energy you spend on resentment is energy stolen from your destiny. December 2nd is coming whether you release it or not. But what gets exposed on that day will depend on what you're carrying. Step 2. Listen more than you speak. You know why you keep missing God's voice? Because you won't shut up long enough to hear it. You pray for 5 minutes and talk for 50. You ask God for direction and then spend the next hour telling Him your plans. You beg for revelation, but your mouth is already moving before heaven can get a word in. James 1:19 cuts like a surgeon's knife. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, quick to listen, slow to speak. But you've been doing it backwards your entire life, haven't you? I'm talking to the grandmother who's been giving unsolicited advice to her grown children for 30 years and wondering why they don't call anymore. I'm talking to the grandfather who dominates every conversation and then feels lonely because nobody wants to talk to him. Your words have been drowning out your destiny. Between now and December 2nd, I need you to do something radical. Speak half as much as you normally do. Cut your words in half. Let silence become your teacher. Because what God is about to reveal to you won't come through noise. It will come through the still, small voice that only appears when you finally stop talking. Step 3. Expect divine interruption. This is where most people miss it. You've got your routine, your schedule, your plan for how the rest of your life is going to unfold. You've accepted that you're retired from purpose, that your assignment is over, that all you have left is maintenance mode until heaven calls you home. But what if I told you that December 2nd is coming to wreck your comfortable plans? What if God is about to interrupt your routine with an assignment so unexpected, so unlikely, so impossible for someone your age that when it happens, there will be no doubt it came from Him? Look at Abraham in Genesis 12. 75 years old, settled, comfortable, retired. And then God shows up and says, "Leave everything you know and go to a place I'll show you later." No GPS, no Google Maps, no detailed plan. Just go, and Abraham's obedience became the foundation of nations. You've been asking God for clarity. He's about to give you interruption. You've been praying for confirmation. He's about to give you disruption. And if you're so locked into your routine that you can't recognize divine interruption when it comes, you'll miss the very thing you've been praying for. Step 4. Stay spiritually still. This doesn't mean inactive. This means centered. Psalm 46:10 commands it, "Be still and know that I am God." But you can't be still because you're terrified that if you stop moving, stop planning, stop controlling, everything will fall apart. Newsflash, beloved, everything's already falling apart. Your way isn't working. Your plans keep failing. Your control is an illusion. And the harder you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. Spiritual stillness means you stop trying to orchestrate your breakthrough. You stop manipulating circumstances. You stop forcing doors open. You plant your feet, lift your hands and say, "God, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm listening. Have your way." Step 5. Watch the signs around you. Between now and December 2nd, heaven is speaking. Through dreams, through people, through circumstances that seem random but are actually orchestrated. That phone call that came out of nowhere. That person who crossed your mind and then texted you 10 minutes later. That door that opened when you weren't even knocking. Luke 21:25 warns us, there will be signs in the sun, moon and stars. If Jesus said to watch for signs in the cosmos, how much more should you be watching for signs in your daily life? Your body may be older, but your spirit is ageless. Your joints may ache, but your discernment is sharper than ever. Your steps may be slower, but your spiritual antenna is tuned to frequencies the young can't access. If you're ready for the December 2nd revelation, if you're prepared to see what's been hidden, if you're willing to let God expose both the blessing coming toward you and the burden being removed from you, then type it right now. Lord, I'm prepared for the truth, because chosen one, you're standing at the door. The key is in your hand. All you have to do is turn it. But will you? Dear chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. While you've been sitting in your kitchen at 2 a.m. wondering if anyone sees you, if anyone remembers you, if your life even matters anymore, there's been a courtroom session happening in the heavenlies, and you were the only case on the docket. Listen carefully. Daniel chapter 7, verse 9 records something that should stop your heart. As I looked, thrones were set in place, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. His clothing was as white as snow. The hair of his head was white like wool. His throne was flaming with fire, and its wheels were all ablaze. Thrones, plural, not one throne. Multiple seats of authority. And they were set in place for a specific purpose, to convene a council. A divine courtroom where verdicts are rendered and destinies are sealed. Now here's what's going to wreck you. Your name was called in that council, not whispered. Called. Spoken with authority by the Ancient of Days himself, while angels leaned in to hear what would be decreed over your life. You thought you were forgotten, didn't you? You thought God had moved on to younger believers, more talented servants. People who still have their whole lives ahead of them. You've been sitting in your living room feeling invisible while the world rushes past your window. Your children barely call. Your friends have moved on or moved away. Some Sundays you wonder if you even matter to the church anymore. But while you were feeling small on earth, you were the conversation in heaven. Think about this for a moment. The God who created 100 billion galaxies with a word, the God who knows every star by name and counts every grain of sand on every shore, that God convened a council meeting about you, about your battles, about your struggles, about your future. Revelation chapter 4 shows us what this council looks like. Around the throne were 24 other thrones, and seated on them were 24 elders. They were dressed in white and had crowns of gold on their heads. From the throne came flashes of lightning, rumblings and peals of thunder. This isn't some casual conversation over coffee. This is the seat of cosmic authority, where the fate of nations is decided, where principalities tremble, where demons are silenced, and your case was brought before that throne. Your destiny was reviewed. Every tear you cried when you thought no one was watching recorded. Every prayer you whispered in the dark archived. Every moment you wanted to quit but didn't documented. Every battle you fought in secret, witnessed by the cloud of witnesses surrounding that throne. The prosecutor stood up. You know who I'm talking about. The accuser of the brethren. The one who's been whispering in your ear for 70, 80, 90 years that you're not enough, you're too late, you've made too many mistakes. God couldn't possibly use someone like you. He presented his case. He listed every failure, every disappointment, every moment of weakness. He pointed to your age and said, too old. He pointed to your past and said, too damaged. He pointed to your bank account and said, too poor. He pointed to your body and said, too tired, but then the Ancient of Days spoke. And when the Ancient of Days speaks, earthquakes bow and mountains melt like wax. Overruled, one word. That's all it took. The accuser's entire case. Decades of condemnation, mountains of evidence, thousands of accusations demolished with a single word from the throne. And then heaven rendered its verdict over your life. Appro nointed. Assigned, your future was affirmed right there in that council. Not based on what you've done, but based on what he's doing. Not based on your strength, but based on his strength perfected in your weakness. Not based on how much time you have left, but based on how much authority he's about to release through you. But here's the mystery that should grip your soul right now. On December 2nd, one verdict is sealed. The judgment in your favor. The declaration that hell's accusations are overruled and heaven's purposes will stand. That verdict is already written. That scroll is already sealed with the blood of the Lamb. But there's another verdict still being written. And this one depends on you. You see, the council has affirmed your calling, but you have to accept your assignment. Heaven has cleared your name, but you have to step into your authority. God has rendered judgment in your favor, but you have to stop living like you're still on trial. How many more years are you going to live like you're guilty when heaven has declared you righteous? How many more months are you going to apologize for taking up space when the Ancient of Days has given you a seat at his table? How many more days are you going to whisper when God has given you a voice that makes demons tremble? What's coming on December 2nd is not chance. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's the moment when the verdict spoken in the heavenly council becomes visible in your earthly circumstances. It's when what was decreed in the spiritual realm manifests in your physical reality. The council has spoken. The judgment is rendered. The verdict is sealed. The only question that remains is this: will you accept what heaven has already decided about your life? Or will you keep believing the lies of an accuser who's already been overruled? Because, chosen one, something shifted in that courtroom. And on December 2nd, you're about to feel the aftershocks of a verdict that was rendered before you even knew you were on trial. But there's something else the council revealed. Something about what's been blocking you. Something about who's been assigned against you. And when you discover what's been removed, now listen to me very carefully, chosen one, because what I'm about to tell you is going to shake the foundation of everything you've believed about your waiting season. You spent how many years now? 10, 20, 30, maybe 50 years chasing after the blessing, running after the breakthrough, begging God to open doors that seemed welded shut. You've knocked until your knuckles bled. You've prayed until your voice gave out. You've believed until believing itself became exhausting. But on December 2nd, everything reverses. You're not chasing the blessing anymore. The blessing is chasing you. I know that sounds impossible right now. I know you're sitting there in that living room in Queens, in that apartment in the Bronx, in that quiet house in Staten Island, thinking, I'm 73 years old. I'm 81, I'm 67. My time has passed. But that's exactly what the enemy wants you to believe. That lie has kept you bound longer than any chain ever could. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. How long have you felt invisible? How many birthdays have come and gone where you wondered if anyone even remembered? How many nights have you sat alone at that kitchen table, staring at the same four walls, wondering if this is all there is? How many times have you looked in the mirror and whispered, "God, did you forget about me?" The loneliness hasn't just visited you, it's moved in, hasn't it? It sits in the chair across from you at dinner. It sleeps in the empty side of your bed. It rides with you to doctor's appointments and grocery stores. And the worst part, you've started to accept it. You've made peace with the idea that your golden years would be spent in silence. But December 2nd is the day that silence gets shattered. Something in the spirit realm shifted 3 weeks ago. Angels received new assignments with your name written on the orders. Doors that have been locked for decades just received the key. Relationships that seemed dead forever just felt the first flutter of resurrection. The very things you buried in your heart and said, "Maybe in heaven," God is saying, "Maybe right now." You see, the Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." But here's what most preachers won't tell you. God's timing isn't always early, but it's never late. It's always precisely, perfectly, purposefully on time. Think about Abraham. 75 years old when God called him to leave everything. 100 years old when Isaac was finally born. The world would have written him off. Society would have said he missed his window. But God was just getting started. Think about Moses, 80 years old, 80, when he stood before that burning bush. 80 years of thinking his purpose had passed, that his calling had expired, that he'd blown his one shot at significance. But heaven was just warming up. And what about you? What about the woman who raised 4 children alone and thinks her purpose ended when they moved away? What about the man who worked 43 years at the same plant and wonders if he was just a cog in a machine? What about the grandmother whose grandchildren are too busy for phone calls, the widower whose friends have all passed on, the retiree who feels more retired from life than from work? Your years did not pass you by. They prepared the ground for what's finally coming. Every disappointment was breaking up hard soil. Every closed door was protecting you from settling for less. Every lonely season was teaching you to hear God's voice above the noise. You weren't being punished, you were being positioned. You weren't being forgotten, you were being prepared. And now, the harvest you thought would never come is moving toward you like a freight train. Here's the mystery that's going to blow your mind. You are like a lighthouse. For decades, you've been standing there on the rocky shore, faithful, steady, shining your light even when no ships seemed to notice. Even when the fog was so thick you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you. Even when you wondered if your light mattered at all. But heaven just turned the ships in your direction. Opportunities you stopped praying for are changing course. Relationships you thought were impossible are being repositioned. Breakthroughs you buried in disappointment are being resurrected. And the most shocking part, they're coming faster than you're ready for. Psalm 126:5 declares, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy." You've been sowing in tears for so long you forgot what a harvest looks like. You've been planting in darkness for so many years, you can't even imagine what blooms in the light. But every tear you cried was a seed. Every prayer you whispered was planting season. And December 2nd marks the beginning of your reaping season. But here's what's going to wreck you, chosen one. Here's the part that should make your chest tighten and your eyes well up right now. For the first time in decades, what you've been waiting for is now waiting for you. That phone call you stopped expecting, it's being dialed. That reconciliation you gave up on, it's being arranged. That provision you thought would never come, it's being released. That purpose you thought died with your youth, it's about to be activated in your seasoned years with more power than it ever could have had before. You're not too old, you're right on time. You're not too late, you're precisely positioned. You're not forgotten, you're about to be showcased. But the question that will determine everything is this: when the blessing stops running away from you and starts running toward you, will you be ready to receive it? Or will you still be stuck in the victim mentality that says you don't deserve it? It's too good to be true. It won't last, because what's moving toward you on December 2nd isn't just coming to visit. It's coming to stay, and you need to understand exactly what that means. Listen to me, beloved. Every single thing that tried to break you wasn't breaking you. It was building you. That divorce at 53 that left you sleeping alone in a bed meant for two, that wasn't the end of your story. That was God removing what would have prevented December 2nd. That bankruptcy in 2008 when you lost the house you raised your children in, that wasn't punishment. That was preparation. That betrayal by the person you trusted most, the one who knew every scar on your soul and used them as a roadmap to hurt you, that wasn't random cruelty. That was a mandatory course in your spiritual education. You've been in training, chosen one, and you didn't even know it. You thought you were just surviving, getting through one more day, one more bill, one more sleepless night wondering if God had your address wrong. But what if I told you that every tear you cried in that kitchen at 2 a.m. was being collected in heaven's bottles? What if I told you that every prayer you whispered through clenched teeth, "God, I can't do this anymore," was actually you passing another exam? Your pain was a private classroom. Your destiny is the graduation. And December 2nd is when you finally get your diploma. Job understood this. After losing everything, his children, his wealth, his health, his dignity, he said something that will shatter you. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. Job 23:10. Not if he tests me. When? Because the testing wasn't the question. The refining was the guarantee. You didn't grow old, dear one. You grew ready. Those 72 years you've lived, that's not decline, that's development. Those wrinkles on your face, they're not marks of decay. They're etchings of wisdom that can only be carved by time and fire. That slower pace you walk now, that's not weakness. That's the measured stride of someone who's learned which battles to fight and which ones to let God handle. The world looks at your age and sees retirement. Heaven looks at your age and sees readiness. Think about Moses. The world said he was done at 80, but God said he was just getting started. 40 years in Pharaoh's palace taught him privilege. 40 years in the wilderness taught him humility. And at 80, when society would have put him in a nursing home, God put a staff in his hand and said, "Now you're dangerous. That's you right now." Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every financial crisis taught you faith. Every health scare taught you that your body is temporary, but your spirit is eternal. Every door that slammed in your face was God redirecting you from something that looked good, but would have destroyed what He's been building. You've been asking God, why did I have to go through all that? But December 2nd is going to answer with a clarity that will drop you to your knees. Because what God is about to reveal will prove that nothing, absolutely nothing, in your life was wasted. That addiction you battled for 20 years, that's going to become your authority to set someone else free. That depression that nearly took you out, that's going to become your credentials to pull someone back from the edge. That child you buried, that marriage you mourned, that dream that died in your hands. God has been composing a symphony from your sorrow, and December 2nd is opening night. Psalm 126:5 declares, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy." You've been sowing for decades, beloved. You've planted seeds in soil so dark you couldn't see your own hands. You've watered ground with tears that felt endless. You've fertilized earth with pain that had no name. But harvest doesn't look like planting, and December 2nd is harvest. Here's what's going to wreck you. Everything the enemy tried to destroy, God is about to use. That thing you're most ashamed of, That's about to become your greatest weapon. That secret you've carried for 40 years, that's about to become your testimony. That wound that never quite healed, that's about to become the very place where others come to be healed. The rehearsal is over, chosen one. The curtain is about to rise, and the world is about to see what happens when someone who's been trained by suffering finally steps into their calling. But are you ready to discover what role you've been rehearsing for all these years? Chosen one, as we reach the end of this sacred encounter, I need you to carry 3 eternal truths with you into December 2nd. First, this date is not random, it's a divine appointment. Heaven has been orchestrating this moment through every trial, every tear, every test you've endured. Second, the revelation coming isn't just about what you'll gain, but what you'll finally see. The veil is lifting, the blindness is ending. And third, everything you survived was rehearsal for what's about to be released through you. But hear me clearly, beloved, you are not walking into December 2nd alone. The same God who held you through every valley is walking you into this revelation. He hasn't brought you this far to abandon you now. Romans 8:31 settles it. If God is for us, who can be against us? And beyond God's presence, you have a community right here. Thousands of chosen ones who understand your journey, who've walked similar paths, who are ready to stand with you in prayer. We're not just viewers on a screen, we're family in the spirit. So let me ask you this, knowing what you now know about December 2nd, knowing that nothing in your life was wasted, knowing that your pain was preparation, how will you walk differently into this divine appointment? Before you answer, let me pray over you. Close your eyes wherever you are. Feel my hand on your shoulder right now. Heavenly Father, I lift up every precious soul hearing these words. You know their names, you know their struggles, you know the battles they've fought in silence. Lord, December 2nd is approaching, and I pray you would prepare their hearts for what you're about to reveal. God, open their spiritual eyes to see what's been hidden. Remove every veil of confusion, doubt, and fear. Give them courage to face the truth about their calling. Strengthen them for the shift that's coming. Surround them with your presence so powerfully that they cannot deny you're moving. Father, bless their families, their finances, their health, their peace. Go before them and make their paths straight. Close every door that leads to destruction. Open every door that leads to destiny. Let December 2nd be the day they remember forever as the moment everything changed. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Now I need to hear from you. Comment below and tell us what God spoke to your heart today. What are you believing Him for on December 2nd? Don't hold back, your testimony might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Ask for prayer if you need it. This community will surround you. And if this message stirred something deep in your spirit, share it with someone who needs to hear it. There's someone in your life right now who's been feeling that same restlessness, that same divine anticipation. They need to know they're not alone. They need to know December 2nd is their day too. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Your faithfulness to watch until the end tells me everything I need to know about your heart. You're ready. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell. Because December 2nd is just the beginning. Walk into this revelation with confidence, beloved. You are chosen, you are loved, and you are never, ever alone. Until December 2nd, stay ready.